Joining us now is Ken Graham. He's the director of the National Hurricane Center. Mr. Graham, thanks so much for being with us. So tell us what you're seeing in the shift of the track.
Yeah, we're trying to focus not only just on the track like that, because the impacts are still going to be the same. But here's the problem that we have. You know, this system is a major hurricane, so we talk about the winds. But watch how slow this moves right along the coast. 2 a.m. Friday, this is 2 a.m. Saturday, and then even 2 a.m. Sunday. We don't move very far. So the longer this system hangs around, you get more of that rainfall, more of the storm surge. And the rainfall is absolutely staggering, forecasting 20 to 40 inches of rain and 15 to 20. Look how far inland, to 6 to 10, almost all of North Carolina, and stretching into South Carolina as well. So very dangerous situation with the rainfall and the storm surge.
Yes, in fact, Chad Myers, our meteorologist, said that it's not the wind that he worries about that will kill a lot of people, it's the water. And so let's talk about that storm surge. So how far in are you seeing that it could hit?
Well, it's interesting because you look at history, 50% of fatalities in these tropical systems is the storm surge, and another 25% is that inland rain. So we have to have the conversation about the water. And look at this, as far as Charleston, 2 to 4 feet, we've got warnings up the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina. Look at these values, 9 to 13 feet potentially, 4 to 9 feet. These are staggering amounts. And when you ask about, looking at inland, I do want to show you this graphic because it's important for people to realize that it's not just a coastal thing, even with the storm surge, because it's not just these barrier islands. These rivers, you talk about the Pamlico River or the Neuse River, they normally flow out. But guess what? With a storm surge, that water reverses and it flows inward, and where it piles up is where you can get some of those values, 9 to 13 feet, and all these tributaries as well. So look how far inland this storm surge goes. That's why we communicate the dangers of the water, and it's not just coastal, it goes well inland.
But help us with our geography. Is that like 100 miles inland from the coast?
You can easily go 30, 40 miles inland with this. So what happens is when you get this storm surge start to pile up and you get that heavy rain that we've been talking about, it actually gets blocked by that storm surge. It can't drain. So you start getting a situation that even these side tributaries start filling up with water, and you get that flash flooding well away from these main tributaries. So, any river flooding is just going to be a major issue as well. So you think of every impact that we can have in this situation, we seem to have it with Florence here.
Okay, so what time is all of this going to start happening?
Well before landfall, you start seeing these outer bands start reaching the coast. Probably, we're looking at on even late tomorrow, we'll start seeing it. People a lot of times concentrate just on the landfall, and it's a lot more than that. You start getting these bands extend out further out. 170 miles, by the way, away from the center, we're actually getting some of those tropical storm force winds. So we'll see some of those arrive tomorrow. And so it's not just about the center. You think about these areas like that. Look how big that yellow area is when you start looking at tropical storm force winds. They'll start arriving, really looking at some of the bands tomorrow. But Thursday, outer bands reaching the shore, and then Friday getting landfall, and then not going anywhere very soon.
Obviously, we all remember how bad last season was between Irma and Maria and Harvey. Is there anything you can compare Florence to?
It's hard. This is one of the big kind of rules of thumb that we talk about here at the Hurricane Center. It's, every storm is so different. It's amazing that, I go back to the last 24 years in the Weather Service, and every one of them are so different. And that's what we try to tell people, to be very careful with those comparisons, because if you're sitting at the edge of one, you think you went through it, but you really didn't. So try not to compare those, and really in your mind, think about every impact. Think about the values of the rain. Think about where you are in those risks. And the biggest thing, and everybody's been communicating this, listen to those local officials. They're really on the ground looking at those dangers. We talk to them constantly, and if they're telling you to leave, you have to leave.
Okay, that is such a good reminder. Ken Graham, thank you very much for explaining all of this to us. We'll check back.